Alright folks, we need to talk about what just went down in Paris. Team USA women's basketball barely, and I mean barely, scraped by with the gold medal. But let me tell you, this victory feels anything but golden. Picture this: Cheryl Reeve, the coach who left Caitlyn Clark off the Olympic roster, pacing nervously on the sidelines, her face etched with fear. Why? Because her dream team was one bad bounce away from losing it all. The scoreboard tells the story: 67-66, 1 single point. That's all that stood between the USA and a shocking upset by France. And let's be real, if it wasn't for Aja Wilson pulling off some last-minute heroics, we might be having a very different conversation right now. But here's the kicker: this nail-biter of a final has only amplified the questions we've all been asking. Was leaving Caitlyn Clark off the team a colossal mistake? It's looking like one heck of a gamble. The stats don't lie, folks. Just look at the turnover count. It was like watching a hot potato contest out there. The US squad, supposedly the cream of the crop, was fumbling and stumbling their way through what should have been a showcase of American basketball superiority. And Cheryl Reeve, oh boy, you could practically see the regret written all over her face. Every time France made a run, the camera panned to Reeve, and I swear you could see her thinking, I shouldn't have left Caitlyn off the roster. But here's the real kicker: this game exposed some serious flaws in Team USA's roster construction. The lack of consistent outside shooting was glaring, and you know who could have helped with that? The French team, credit where it's due, came to play. They identified every weakness in the US game plan and exploited it ruthlessly. It was a masterclass in preparation and execution. Meanwhile, Team USA looked like they were playing together for the first time, not like a group of seasoned pros who've dominated international basketball for decades. In the end, yes, USA got the gold, but at what cost? The aura of invincibility? Gone. The confidence of being leagues above the competition? Shattered. And all because of a stubbornly rigid selection process that values tradition over talent. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the star player who wasn't in the room. Caitlyn Clark's absence from this Olympic team is looking more and more like a monumental blunder with each passing day. Cheryl Reeve's decision to leave Clark off the roster was controversial from the start, but now it's bordering on indefensible. We're talking about a player who's not just good, she's redefining what we thought was possible in women's basketball. Clark's ability to drain threes from practically half court, her court vision, her clutch performances. These are exactly the qualities Team USA was desperately lacking in that final against France. But it's not just about her skills on the court. Clark brings something else, something that can't be measured in stats or tracked on a shot chart: star power, the kind of magnetism that fills arenas and glues eyeballs to TV screens. And boy, did Team USA miss that in Paris. The justifications for Clark's exclusion are wearing thin. She's too young, they said. She needs more experience, they claimed. Well, I hate to break it to Cheryl Reeve, but youth and inexperience didn't stop Clark from dominating the WNBA in her rookie season. It didn't stop her from breaking records left and right. And it certainly wouldn't have stopped her from making a difference in that nail-biter of a gold medal game. What's even more baffling is that while Clark was left at home, players like Taurasi, who didn't even see playing time in the final, made the cut. Now, I'm not here to disrespect Taurasi's legendary career, but when you're in a dogfight for gold, wouldn't you want your best current players on the court? The decision to keep Clark off the team is looking less like a strategic choice and more like a costly mistake with each passing day. Now let's talk about the ripple effects of this decision, because they extend far beyond just the outcome of one game. We're talking about a seismic shift in the landscape of women's basketball. The WNBA has been riding a wave of increased popularity, and a big part of that surge can be attributed to the Caitlyn Clark effect. Fans tune in to watch Clark play with the same fervor they reserve for NBA superstars. But what happened when she wasn't on the Olympic team? Well, let's just say the ratings weren't exactly breaking records. Even NBA stars are weighing in on this. Draymond Green, never one to mince words, called out USA basketball for the Clark snub. He pointed out what we've all been thinking, that leaving Clark off the team wasn't just a basketball decision, it was a marketing misfire. Green argued that Clark's presence could have done for women's basketball what the 1992 Dream Team did for the men's game: elevate it to new heights of global popularity. But it's not just about missed marketing opportunities. It's about the message this sends to young players coming up in the ranks. What does it say when one of the most electrifying players in the game, someone who's bringing new fans to the sport in droves, is left off the Olympic team? It suggests that no matter how good you are, no matter how much excitement you generate, there's still an old guard gatekeeping the highest levels of the sport. This decision has sparked a larger conversation about the future of USA basketball. Are we still fielding the best possible team, or are we clinging to outdated notions of paying dues and waiting your turn? In a global basketball landscape that's more competitive than ever, can we afford to leave our most dynamic talents on the sidelines? Let's zoom in on another puzzling aspect of this Olympic final, the curious case of Diana Taurasi. Now, don't get me wrong, Taurasi is a legend of the game. Her resume speaks for itself, but in this gold medal match, she was nowhere to be seen on the court. That's right, folks. In the most crucial game of the tournament, with the gold medal hanging in the balance, Diana Taurasi didn't play a single minute. And this isn't just any player we're talking about. This is Diana Taurasi, who was selected over Caitlyn Clark for this very Olympic team. Now, I'm not privy to the inner workings of Cheryl Reeve's mind, but this decision raises some serious questions. If Taurasi wasn't going to play in the final, why was she on the team at all? Was she there for her leadership, her experience, her ability to cheer from the bench? Because let me tell you, in a one-point game, I'm pretty sure most coaches would prefer a sharpshooter on the court over a cheerleader on the sidelines. This situation perfectly encapsulates the problem with the team selection. We had a spot that could have gone to Caitlyn Clark, a young, dynamic player who's been lighting up the WNBA. Instead, it went to a veteran who, despite her illustrious career, didn't see the court when it mattered most. It's decisions like these that make you wonder, was this team really built to win, or was it built to maintain the status quo? Because if the goal was to field the best possible team, to showcase the best of USA basketball, then having one of your selected players sitting out the entire final seems like a major misstep. And let's not forget, while Taurasi was watching from the bench, Caitlyn Clark was back home, probably itching to get back on the court and show exactly why she should have been in Paris. The contrast couldn't be more stark, and it's a situation that's bound to fuel debates for years to come. Alright, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture here. What we're witnessing isn't just about one player or one tournament. This is about the future of women's basketball as a whole. Think about it. On one side, we have the established order, USA basketball, with its legacy of dominance and its traditional approach to team building. They've been the gold standard for decades, and for good reason. But as we saw in that nail-biter against France, even giants can stumble. On the other side, we have Caitlyn Clark and the new wave she represents. It's not just about her incredible skills on the court. It's about the excitement she generates, the fans she brings to the game, and the way she's pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible in women's basketball. This Olympic tournament might just be the tipping point, the moment when the old guard realizes that clinging to tradition isn't enough anymore. The game is evolving, and if USA basketball wants to stay on top, they need to evolve with it. But here's where it gets really interesting. As we head into the second half of the WNBA season, we're about to see these two worlds collide. You've got Olympic gold medalists, fresh off their victory in Paris, going head-to-head with Caitlyn Clark, the snubbed superstar with something to prove. It's more than just games on a schedule. It's a battle for the soul of basketball. Will the established stars reassert their dominance, or will Clark and her fellow young guns usher in a new era? One thing's for sure, the next few months are going to be absolutely crucial for the sport. Now let's talk about what's coming up, because the drama we've seen so far, that's just the appetizer. The main course is about to be served, and it's looking spicy. First up, we've got the WNBA playoffs looming on the horizon. The Indiana Fever, led by none other than Caitlyn Clark, are right in the thick of the playoff race. Every game from here on out is crucial. One win could be the difference between a playoff berth and an early vacation. But here's where it gets really interesting. Remember those Olympians, the ones who just barely squeaked by with gold? They're coming back to the WNBA, and they've got targets on their backs. You better believe Caitlyn Clark has those matchups circled on her calendar. Imagine the storyline. Clark going head-to-head with Aja Wilson, the player who saved Team USA's bacon in the gold medal game, or facing off against Chelsea Gray, the point guard who got the nod over her for the Olympic team. These aren't just games anymore, they're statements. And let's not forget about the records. Clark has already shattered quite a few in her rookie season, but she's not done yet. With each game, she's inching closer to the record books. Most three-pointers by a rookie? In her sights. Assist record? She's gunning for it. We could be witnessing history with every bounce of the ball. The real games are just beginning. Alright folks, we've covered a lot of ground today, but now I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Do you believe Cheryl Reeve made a massive mistake by leaving Caitlyn Clark off the Olympic roster? Or do you think the gold medal justifies her decisions? And speaking of Clark, what are your predictions for her performance in the second half of the WNBA season? Will she lead the Fever to a surprising playoff run, or will the Olympic veterans reassert their dominance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a real discussion going. Your insights are valuable, and I love hearing different perspectives from fellow basketball enthusiasts. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay up to date with all things WNBA and women's basketball in general, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We'll be covering every twist and turn of this exciting WNBA season, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.